Good evening, Austin, Texas. You're listening to KVRX HD3 Austin, streaming at koop.org. Radio for people, not for profit. This is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. I'm Mike Wheat.
And I'm Kanya Lyons. Each week on our show, we go beyond the stacks and get to know the people and the programs that make the library a hub of learning, technology, and inspiration for our community.
That's right. And Writing on the Air usually gives us a shout out, but they were busy trying to save the station today. So thanks anyway, guys. Today we're going to have a conversation with Susan Niefler about some of her favorite stories about story time. But before we begin, we're going to...
We're going to talk about the membership drive a little bit more. If you've just tuned in to Volumes, you might not have heard that Co-op is in the middle of its membership drive. That's where you call us at 512-472-5667 to make your pledge and become a member of this radio station. This is a community radio station serving everyone who's listening, even if you haven't called yet. We're serving you, and we just want to hear from you. So give us a call at 512-472-5667 to become a member tonight. You can become a member for as little as $10 a month. Well, that's a little bit more than your library card. It's definitely worth the investment because you're going to get the warm and fuzzy feelings every time you're tuned in to Volumes and to all the other great news and public affairs shows that we're bringing you every day. And this is a labor of love. All these people are here because they want to share with you the wonderful things that the community has to offer, and this radio station is one of them. If you call us and become a member at $10 a month, you're going to be in a drawing for a couple of South by Southwest badges, and that's something that I don't think anybody could scoff or sniff or whatever. Don't make any noises. They're badges. So please give us a call, 512-472-5667.
All right. So.
Hey, Susan.
Hey, Kanya.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Susan.
Hey, Michael.
Susan, as our listeners may not know, is a youth librarian at the Fox Central Library. And how long have you been at the library?
This go around, I've been there about 6 years, but previously I worked for the library for 11 years.
Oh my goodness, you're a long timer. Well, before we get into all that, let's start at the beginning. So, where do you hail from? Are you from Austin?
I was born in Austin, Texas.
No way.
Yes. So when I moved back, I had moving back rights. So yeah, I lived here till I was 4. I was born at Seton Hospital, and then we grew up. I grew up in Irving, Texas. Right.
So you're always a Texas girl.
I'm a Texas girl through and through. Yes.
Awesome.
So I'm a product of the Austin and the Irving Public Library systems.
And so how did you end up with the love of libraries?
When I was in 7th grade, I decided I wanted to be a librarian. And I don't exactly know why. I just knew, of course, I like to read, but that wasn't why. I think it was because a library was there. It was full of books. It was full of your friends in print. Anyone could come in. It was free. You could read the books there or not. You could watch, you could check out movies. Well, not a long time ago, but you can check out movies.
Back in the day, it was LPs, I think.
Right, yeah. So it was LPs, right. And I think also I fell in love with the fish tank right near the checkout desk at the children's desk at the Irving Public Library. It was really cool.
That was the one that pushed you over the edge.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, the fish tank.
They can have fish in the library.
That's right. And we have fish at my house now, too. And I think it's because of the Irving Public Library.
Oh,
that's a really cool story.
Yeah.
For the non-Texans, where is Irving?
It's up by Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah, it's where the old Texas Stadium used to be.
Cool.
Buckle of the Bible Belt. That's where I grew up. Yeah.
Nice.
So your mother or father, did they take you to the library a lot as a child?
Yeah, my mom took me. Yeah, I remember going, and I loved that I had my own library card with my own name typed on it, and they typed it very carefully, and I was responsible for it.
Sort of like an early credit card.
Yeah, it was. It is a credit card. That's what I tell kids. This is a credit card, and you can borrow anything in the library, and we have 1.5 million things in the library you can check out, and that's really cool, but you just can't have them all at the same time.
And that's a real number. You didn't just make that up. We really have 1.5 million items
we have
in the library.
1.5 million items all over town. Yeah. So,
nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's really cool.
So when you said you started at APL 11 years ago?
No, I was but a wee librarian. I'd been a librarian for a couple of years, and my first couple of years was in Longview, Texas, which was behind the pine curtain, and that was a great place to go. My first library job, and I did my very first story time there. I knew absolutely nothing about working with children, and so I did my very first story time the only way I knew how, which was standing up in my hose and my heels and my blue interview suit that my mother had sewn for me, and standing up, and I just sweated buckets. And those parents were so nice, and those kids were so nice, and it could only get better from there.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
And it has. And now I know, ditch the heels and the hose and your interview seat, and don't stand up while you're reading to preschoolers who are sitting on the floor.
Yeah. My favorite thing is when you say,
"Hey, library."
Oh, it makes me so happy.
Yeah. That's what we do.
That's what you're known for.
Yeah. That's how she introduces.
So now everybody knows who we have here.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to continue our conversation with Susan Niefler in about a minute after we hear all about the great things happening at all the different locations from our good buddies Blair, Kathleen, and Ann.
My name is Blair Parsons, and I'm a reference librarian at the Falk Central Library. Thursday night, February 23rd, the Pleasant Hill Branch Library will host an evening with council member Ann Kitchen. The event provides an opportunity to meet and discuss issues with your elected representative. An evening with council member Ann Kitchen is Thursday, February 23rd from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Pleasant Hill Branch Library. Also on Thursday, February 23rd, the Twin Oaks Branch Library will host Sari Albernaz from the Sustainable Food Center. Sari will present a program titled Saving Seeds for Resilience, Resistance, and Sustainability. Sari will lead a discussion about the importance of saving seeds for sustained agricultural biodiversity. The program begins at 7 p.m. Thursday, February 23rd at the Twin Oaks Branch Library.
This is Kathleen Houlihan, the teen librarian at the Falk Central Library downtown, with the teen and tween events happening at the Austin Public Library System for the upcoming week. This Thursday, February 23rd, Carver Branch will have free play video gaming starting at 3 p.m. And then on Saturday, February 25th, you can learn to express yourself through media and technology from 1 o'clock to 2:30 p.m. at the Ruiz Branch. More library programs and details are at library.austintexas.gov/events.
This is Ann Minner, Youth Services Manager and Children's Librarian at the Old Quarry Branch. I get to tell you about the Austin Public Library events happening for children this week. Austin Public Library presents Art Smart, a wonderful opportunity to explore art, media, and techniques as a family. On Tuesday, February 28th at 6:30 p.m., the project is Pet Rocks. Everyone remembers the best behaved pets from the 1970s. We're going to make some of our own. Other topics this spring include portraits, rain art, fairies, dragons, and much more. All ages and generations are welcome to come be Art Smart with Miss Ambray on Tuesday evenings at 6:30 p.m. at the Willie Mae Kirk Branch. Details about Art Smart and other youth events are at library.austintexas.gov/events.
If you're an Austin Public Library card holder, the virtual library gives you the power to read ebooks, graphic novels, and comics, listen to audiobooks, read digital magazines, stream movies, TV shows, and documentaries, listen to music, learn over 80 languages, read newspaper articles, research your genealogy, find doctor-approved health information, repair your car, find legal forms, get homework help for all ages and subjects, find information for businesses and investing, find and apply for jobs, improve job skills, and research career options. Download apps to use on the go 24/7. Over 100 resources are in the virtual library, online at library.austintexas.gov/virtual to meet your informational, educational, leisure, and entertainment needs.
Austin Book Arts Center is a new nonprofit teaching book arts to promote literacy. Our classes include bookbinding, letterpress printing, calligraphy, book repair, and decorative papermaking. More info at atxbookarts.org.
Co-op would like to thank the following businesses that have joined as members during the drive.
Austin Flower Company, austinflowers.com.
Save Our Springs Alliance, Austin's water watchdog since 1992. SOSalliance.org.
South by Southwest Festival 2017, March 13th through 19th, southbysouthwest.com.
Breakaway Records, all vinyl store, 211 West North Loop, breakawayrex.com.
North Loop Signs, providing signs and graphics to Austin. northloopsigns.com.
Master Pancake Theater, enhancing Hollywood's best and worst films. drafthouse.com.
Bullock State History Museum, thestoryoftexas.com.
Switched On Music Electronics, new and used equipment and repair service. SwitchedOnAustin.com.
Cornucopia, peace, love, and popcorn. Cornucopiapopcorn.com.
There's still time to join as a business member. Just call our volunteer phone answerers at 512-472-5667 or email the office at promotions@koop.org.
And we are back in the studio. And for those of you who are just now joining us, today we have youth librarian and library enthusiast Susan Niefler.
Hi.
Hi.
And Susan, let's get into your job. Describe a day in the life for Susan Niefler.
Okay, so one of the very best things about my job is that every single day is different. There's no Mondays are different from every other Monday, and so here are some of the things that I get to do. Number one, I get to plan a lot of my time. I get to process incoming books because we have 1.5 million things in the library. Somebody's got to get them ready. I plan story time which is fun time for very young children. We have a lot of activities that we put out for parents. We have scavenger hunts and crafts, and so we get all that ready. We're taking pictures of things for social media, meeting with community partners like AISD. I work with a lot of great volunteers, and so getting things ready for them or working with them. We go out and we visit schools. We do tours. We have lots of schools that come in, a lot of charter schools, AISD, other schools for the blind. They come in, research visits, and getting ready for the new Central Library. That's a big part of my job.
Yeah, that's a big one. You guys have been stacking up books, timing yourselves on relocating.
Yeah, we have. We're getting ready. It's going to be worth it. I've seen the new library. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I am so excited.
Yeah.
And the citizens of Austin are just lucky as all get out to have this crown jewel right in the center of town with lots of amazing books and amazing people like you.
Oh, thank you.
Doing story times with their kids. So tell me about story times. What
I was going to say, based on judging the way that you announce story times, it's got to be your most favorite part of your job.
It is. It's the best part of my job, and it's one of those things that we have a lot of people who want to volunteer for the library, and they'll say, "But I really want to read to the kids." And so the volunteer coordinator says, "I'm sorry, the children's librarians get to do that. It's the most fun thing." And so, story time is a whole lot of fun. We have them in basically 7-week sessions, and they're all around town, and we do thousands of story times in around town. They're in all of our branches. They're for young children. They last about 30 minutes long. Stories, songs, finger plays. We stand up, sit down, fight. Everybody gets a chance to sing and move, and a lot of times there's crafts that are associated with the activities, and it's a whole lot of fun for little kids to fall in love with the library, which is really important for them, so that they see the library is a place that they can come for the rest of their life. It's also a great time for parents because they get to come and not be the boss. So somebody else gets to be in charge of things. It doesn't cost anything, which is really nice. And the parents get to make friends and with each other. And it's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I used to bring my daughter to story time, and
did.
it is fun.
Yeah.
So you guys do story times geared at different age levels, right? To kind of meet the kids where they're at, what their needs are, attention wise, and such like that.
Right. Yeah. So and different locations have different types of story times depending on what the community asks for. We have toddler story time, which is a sweet little 15 minutes of very short stories and lots of movement and lots of sweetness. And then we may have some baby story times for younger than that, for younger than 18 months, and those are very sweet and lots of bouncing babies there. And then many of our story times are your basic preschool story time, ages 3 to 5, or they may be an all age. We also have some sensory story times for children who need a structure, and so they're like the one that I do is a modified sensory story time down at the Falk Central Library. We've also got story times in different languages, story times in English and Spanish, story times just in Spanish. We have bilingual story times, French English, Japanese English, Chinese, I believe. We've got some story times. So anyway, it's a whole lot of fun, and they're all the storytime information is available online on the library's website.
And that's library.austintexas.gov/storytimes. There you go.
That's right. Now, that's all good and well, but I'm sure you've had some tomfoolery or some happenstances, some kind of things that happen that you would love to share.
Yeah, so story time, you never know what's going to happen, and I always tell parents, because I've been around, there's nothing your children can do that I haven't seen, so don't worry about it. Because parents are worried about their kids misbehaving or making too much noise, and I'm like, do not even worry about that. And I always tell the kids, if your parents get wiggly, then you can walk around the room with your parents.
Yeah.
So as a way of letting parents know, it's just okay and it's practice. So I'll start off with my favorite story, which actually made Children's Librarians Bingo. And I got to mark it, and it was the time I'm sitting there doing story time, and I'm in a chair, and all the kids are sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor. And this little boy was probably about 4 years old, and he's sitting there crisscross applesauce, and he's in the, kind of close to me, and he's sitting there listening, and I'm reading a story. I don't know what I was reading, and he just sort of leaned forward and licked my leg, and.
I wasn't expecting that.
I was not expecting that. He was satisfied. And then he sat down, and I looked at all the parents like, okay, well, that happened.
This is part of what I was talking about.
And off I went, and I kept going. And I still, to this day, I'll tell parents, your children can't do anything. If they lick my leg, I'm ready. And they look at me, and I'll go, yeah, that really happened. We have to be ready for everything.
Was he playing dog or any other context?
I have no idea. He was 4. I could have, I don't know. Was my leg salty? I don't know.
It was subtle that day.
Yeah, it was really, it was a moment. And, it wasn't creepy because he was 4. Yeah. But that was really fun. And I've got a lot of mileage out of that one. I did have, there's some very sweet things. So I had a little boy, it was a family come in, it was an Anglo family came in, and they had an African-American daughter that I think they had told me that they had adopted, and she was probably 6. This was in the summertime, so we had older kids. And so she's sitting there, and when we pick stories for story time, we try to make sure that the books represent a cross range of children, because it's important for children to see themselves in the stories. And so I happened to pick a story that had African-American girl as the main character. So I'm reading along, and she's doing what I can't even remember the name of the story, but all of a sudden the little boy looks over at his sister, and he says out loud, "Hey, you're in that book." And it was so sweet because he was so excited that his sister was in this book.
Yeah.
And that's why we're, it looks like we just sort of pull books off the shelf, but we really don't. We really try to think about who's coming and how can we make everybody feel invited, because the library is for everybody.
Well, yeah, and just like when you're saying you guys do your dancing and singing, that might just look like fun, but I know that you're actually secretly teaching motor skills and interactive skills, and the kids don't even realize they're learning that.
No, all of those things we think about. I mean, I went to a meeting today with AISD, and And it reminded me that we think about the Texas pre-kindergarten guidelines, and we think about the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, yes, for kindergartners or preschoolers. We have those things in mind when we plan what we do, and we really try to make it useful for kids. So it's also educational without being, please now sit down and listen to me talk. We're going to all sing this song together, and we're going to all do our large motor skills, or we're going to do finger plays like the Eensy Weensy Spider. So you're using your small motor skills. Those are all the things that we've been doing, that we all grew up doing, and that's why you do them, because it's important for children and their brain development.
Well, and the parents, I'm sure they're going home with some new skills and ways to interact with their children that.
Oh, yeah. So last week I did 2 little blackbirds. So imagine you have one finger pointed up and another finger pointed up, right? So 2 little blackbirds sitting on a hill, one named Jack, one named Jill, and then you hide them behind your back. Fly away, Jack, fly away, Jill. And then I waited. And then I brought my fingers back and I go, come back, Jack, come back, Jill. And 2 little boys like freaked out, and they both just went like, what? Like, they came back. And so we did it again, and it freaked him out again when I brought him back. And I looked at the parents and I go, thank you. Now you may use this in the grocery store line when it gets really long. And this is what you can do with your kids. And if it's a really long line, get your pen or pencil or grab one from the grocery store lady and mark bird faces on your fingers and your child's fingers. And then you can do this while you're waiting to get out the grocery store line. And it's sweet, and it's rhyming, and it breaks down all the consonants and the syllables, and it entertains children and the people around them if you're doing 2 little blackbirds at HEB.
Nice. Yeah, everybody gets to enjoy it. So I also heard wind of another neat little thing that's coming down the line. You've got some people scheduled coming to sing with the kids?
Yes, so on March 24th at 10:30 in the morning, we're going to have 4 sailors at the story time at the Falk Library. 4 sailors in there, and I quote and I don't know what rank he is, but he was a really nice guy, and he was wearing his uniform in their Cracker Jack uniforms.
Oh, nice.
So the white Cracker Jack uniforms. Oh my gosh, they're going to come to story time, and we're going to have stories all about. These are sailors from the USS Texas, which is actually a submarine. Ooh. And so they're going to be coming, and we're going to sing lots of sailor songs and have a sailor. They're going to help us with a sailor craft, and they are going to help us sing.
What date is that, real quick?
It is March 24th. It's a Friday at 10:30 in the morning at the Falk Central Library. Come and meet a sailor at story time.
Kids are going to flip out.
Oh
that
my
is
gosh.
too cool.
And the parents.
Man. Yeah, and the parents.
This all sounds wonderful. Thank you again for joining us, Susan. Glad you made it in tonight.
Sure.
Again, everything about Storytime can be found online at
library.austintexas.com/storytimes.
What she said.
Sorry.
Thank you guys for staying tuned in for Volumes. I know that you are benefiting from all of the news and information that Co-op is bringing you on the news and public affairs shows. We have all kinds of stuff going on every weekday from 6 to 7, from 7 to 8. We have internet programming, just like Volumes, bringing you things that you wouldn't find elsewhere unless you were at Austin, Texas Library website looking at the story times there. We have a goal for the show for 2 new donors. You can become a donor by going to koop.org and clicking the donate button and making your gift safely and securely. We have just 10 minutes left so far, a little bit less than. But there's still time. There's always time. Even if you don't get to it before we finish the show and you want to stay in rapt attention to everything that's going to be said, I encourage you to Control-T, open another tab, and go to koop.org to make your donation. 92% of our budget comes from listeners just like you. Even if you haven't called us yet, you're part of the community that makes Co-op great. You are already with us. So just go on there and make that gift and just let us know how much you're with us by becoming a member today. It's really easy. I do it. You can do it. We can all do it and make Co-op just a resource and a treasure for a long time to come.
That's right. You're listening to KVRX HD3 Austin, radio for people, not for profit. You're listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show.
On Co-op 91.7 FM, Hornsby, Austin, radio for people, not for profit.
Co-op Radio features roots programming every morning of the week. This is Rod Moog inviting you to join me for the country, swing, and rockabilly jamboree Thursday mornings from 9 to 11. Our country is classic, our swing is western, and the rockabilly is the early kind from the mid-1950s. Thursday mornings 9 to 11. Look for you there.
This is Volumes.
The My Library awareness campaign is people are sharing things they love about the library, and we want to thank Susan for coming in and telling us how much she loves the library. And next week, we're going to have the Ladies of Literature Live on the show to talk about the Little Peep Puppet Show and all the great puppet shows that happen at the Austin Public Library. Additional information can be found at library.austintexas.gov. Thanks for joining us, y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Details at library.austintexas.gov/volumes.
Want to give a special thanks to our audio engineer, DJ Harris, and our volunteer production assistant, Sev Corson.
And thanks to the musicians who composed and performed our original theme song. Andrew Noble on violin, Kirk Duvall on guitar, and APL's very own Mike Wheat on percussion.
Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, airs Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on koop.org Community Radio.